Hello James, in this video we are going to discuss about projectile motion, a special kind of motion in two dimensions. Okay, also the upcoming videos now will be a series on projectile motion. Projectile motion of course is not a spoonful topic that I'll feed you within a go. We need to at least devote 2 to 3 more lectures to projectile motion. So as we go into basics and discuss some derivations today, a lot remains behind the curtain. Okay, so with that being said, editor, you may roll the content for today's class. So let us begin with our discussion on projectile motion. Okay, projectile motion is a very common type of motion. We all have experienced it, we all have seen it. Okay, for instance, you can just grab a football and kick it into the air with certain initial velocity. You suppose, or you just grab a football, kick it into the air. The way it goes, we that motion up into the air and back to the ground is nothing but an example of projectile motion. Okay, you can just grab randomly something in your room and just throw it. That was a projectile motion. Okay, let us now just step back into motion in a straight line. Okay, there we had discussed this topic called motion under gravity. If you can recollect, it was an example of uniformly accelerated motion. Okay, so why am I mentioning it over here? Because projectile motion is something very analogous to that. Okay, you can see this motion, the motion in which we kicked our football into the air is nothing but motion under gravity. Right here also you can see that acceleration is nothing but minus g. Right, this motion is happening under Earth's gravity. The only difference is it's happening in two dimensions. Right, in motion under gravity it was up and down, vertical motion. Here it's happening in this plane of the board, in two dimensions. So can we say that projectile motion is motion under gravity in two dimensions? Okay, that will be a loose definition though, because projectile motion in a general way could be anything. Right, it can be just a charge and oblique electric field. At that time also it is a projectile motion, but in our syllabus um, we can say that projectile motion, because we are going to discuss only cases as such. So in our syllables, sticking to our syllables, we can say that projectile motion is motion under gravity in two dimensions. Okay, so motion under gravity, projectile motion is very analogous to motion under gravity. Okay, one more point I mentioned about motion under gravity was it is an example of uniformly accelerated motion. So projectile motion being analogous to it is also uniformly accelerated motion. Okay, this is the takeaway point. So projectile motion by definition actually is uniformly accelerated motion. It's happening in 2D, motion under gravity. Okay, let's step back to 1D and discuss a concept that will help us build the foundation for projectile motion. Okay, so in 1D, going to 1D. So tell me what are the possibilities for the angle between U and A. Okay, U is initial velocity, A is acceleration. You have to tell me the possibilities for the angle. In 1D, of course, theta. Okay, theta is the angle between them. So if you go to do it, you will find only two cases. Okay, only two possibilities are there, since the motion is restricted along a line. 1D, right, motion can happen only along a line. Okay, so those two cases are, first suppose let us assume that object is moving in this direction with initial velocity u. Okay, now the first case, in the first case acceleration can be in the direction of your initial velocity. Okay, so in this case the object will accelerate, right, it will gain speed, and theta, the angle which I asked for, is 0 degrees. Right, there is no angle, they are coincident along the same direction. So u and a in the same direction, angle is 0 degrees. The second possibility is opposite, right? Acceleration can be completely opposite to it. This is just like speeding up, this is just like applying brakes. Okay, so the object will retard in this case. And what is the angle between u and a? You can bring their tails together, and that is 180, right? So in 1D, you only have these two possibilities, right? The motion is restricted along a straight line. You can't play around with them, right? You cannot make this angles oblique. In 2D, you have a choice. In 2D, see. Let's discuss our projectile motion now. Okay, in 2D, we'll go to 2D now. Okay, you have a choice. Let's take this case directly. Okay, I hope I have sufficient space down here. Okay, so let's take that case. We have kicked our football with initial velocity u, and acceleration is vertically downwards, right? Earth is pulling the object towards its center. Okay, the acceleration due to gravity is vertically downwards. Okay, so here you can see that this angle is something oblique. Theta is oblique. Okay, by oblique, I mean it is not equal to 0 degrees or 180 degrees, right? The motion is in 2D. The motion is not restricted along a line. This U and G, the AI, right? In a more general way, okay? U and A are making certain oblique angle. Here, we don't have a choice, only two choice. Here, the angle can be oblique. By oblique, I mean not 0 degree or not 180 degree, not either of the two, okay? So, in such a case where the angle is oblique, where the angle between U initial velocity and acceleration is oblique, that time the motion is parabolic. Okay, I hope you have seen the figures called parabola. This is also a parabola. You can see that it's a downward parabola. Okay, we'll have a mathematical proof for this. Okay, why is the motion parabolic in the next class. We are also going to develop a field in the next class, so hold tight till then. Okay, so for now you assume that whenever the angle between u and a, the initial velocity and the acceleration is something oblique, not equal to 0 degree, not equal to 180 degree, then the motion is parabolic. Okay, this is a parabola, downward parabola. If you smile now, smile. Yeah, even that is a parabola. Okay, so you can this is the foundation for our discussion today. You have noted that down now. Okay, I'll erase it. Now we will discuss some terms. Actually, those terms are used in the questions, so you should not get confused by them. You should be comfortable uh, around them. Okay, so let's discuss some terms. So here we will have our projectile motion. Imagine the football that we kicked into the air. Okay, with certain initial velocity u. You also know the motion will be parabolic, up into the air, back to the ground. Okay, now you can watch the entire motion, right? You can watch the entire motion. You can see at this point the football has reached the maximum height of its entire journey, right? How do you measure height? From the ground, right? This is the ground, of course, or you can call it the x-axis. The x-axis is nothing but the ground. Okay, and this is a y-axis, the air. Okay, in the air. Okay, now you can see that at this point the football that we kick has attained the maximum height, right? This height is the maximum height, so h max. Okay, we'll call name that notation h max, and that notation, as it suggests, literally is the maximum height. Okay, maximum height attained by the particle. In our case, the particle is football. Also, the particle which is doing the projectile motion is called projectile. So the motion of the projectile motion. Okay, so in our case the particle is football, so we can call that football a projectile. Okay, so this will be used in the question. You should not get confused. Whenever they use projectile maximum height, by maximum height they mean the maximum height attained in the entire journey. Okay, also this u is initial velocity. Now that all you'll know, other terms I'll mention. This is theta. Okay, theta is a angle between what and what. Okay, theta is actually called the angle of projection. Okay, angle of projection. and you can see that theta is the angle between, okay, angle between u, vector u, the initial velocity vector and the ground, okay, initial velocity vector and the ground. At what angle do you kick the ball? That is the angle of projection, or you can also state it as the angle between u, initial velocity vector, and the ground, or and x-axis, okay, whatever you wish to call it. Okay, now you know that you have kicked the ball from here, right? That stickman has kicked the ball from here. Now that ball has traveled certain distance horizontally, right? You kicked the ball, it went up into the air and fell back to the ground, but it has traveled certain horizontal distance. The ball is away, okay, the ball has fallen over here, okay. You know that it has traveled certain horizontal distance, which we'll call r, okay. Why r? Because it is named as range, okay. So whenever they mention the range, or it is also called the horizontal range, okay. So whenever they mention the horizontal range or range, these terms in the question, don't get confused. It just means the horizontal distance traveled by the projectile or the particle doing projectile motion, this distance, okay. H max, r, theta, and one more term is time, right? Of course, it will take time for the object from here to here, right? It will take time for the object to complete its entire journey. When you kick the football into the air, it goes up into the air, back to the ground. It will take some time. The time of the journey, I mean, okay. So time of the journey is nothing but time of flight, right? Just like the name suggests, it's the time spent in air, okay, time of flight. So these were the terms that I wanted to mention. Just remember those. You can note this down, and you have to remember this. It will be used in the question, okay. So those are the terms. Other terms are also there, like this u is the initial velocity. Here you'll have g, right, acceleration due to gravity, and this point at which you have kicked the football is called the point of projection, but those are not really important, okay. Now I will state two assumptions. I don't wish to write them because this is something you should remember at the back of your head. It is not that important, but just remember it. Every time the question won't mention it, but we are assuming this, okay. So in every projectile motion that we consider in our syllables, we consider these two assumptions. First one is we neglect the fact that g varies. What g? This g, okay, acceleration due to gravity. In the upcoming chapters you'll learn that the value of this g, you'll know it to be 9.8, okay. So that value actually varies as you travel heights, go down into the earth. That value varies, okay. We neglect that fact, okay. For small height the value varies by a very insignificant amount, so we just neglect that, okay. We take this g to be constant. That is the first assumption, that g is constant. Second assumption, like every time I was saying kick the ball into the air, this was a very false notion because we are going to neglect air resistance, okay. So every time we are going to consider that there is no effect of air resistance on our motion, okay. Air resistance or air drag does not influence our projectile motion, although it is there. Let me breathe. Okay. So I hope the assumptions are clear to you. I hope these terms are also clear to you. Okay, let's erase them. Now the most important thing for the day, okay. We seem to be knowing a lot about projectile motion, okay. We learned the assumption, we learned the terms, we also had a very good introduction to it. We build up the foundation, but we don't know to solve the questions, right? The whole aim of the argument is to solve the question. At the end of the day, we want to try questions, right? How to solve a projectile motion, right? That is something which we didn't discuss. Solving projectile motion. It's just funny that we know a lot about projectile motion without knowing how to solve it, okay. So how to solve the questions of projectile motion, that is something which we are going to discuss. Actually, I gave you a hint about this in the very beginning. Okay, I told you a point, a takeaway point, right? What was that? Projectile motion is uniformly accelerated motion. Okay, does that click you now? How to solve questions of projectile motion? Does that click you? How do you solve the questions of uniformly accelerated motion? Equations of motion, right? So that is the only thing we need to apply over here. Or you can solve the questions of projectile motion using equations of motion. So what are those? V is equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square. Okay, are this correct? No, place them vectorially, right? We are discussing 2D motion in 2 dimensions. So place everything vectorially. So s equals ut plus half at square. Okay, the third one we won't be using much. For those who hate vectors, okay, what to do? If you have the initial velocity vector, suppose this is the initial velocity vector, projectile motion will be somewhat like this. Okay, so what do you have to do? You have to just resolve it. Okay, this will be theta. What is theta? Angle of projection. Okay, so you have to just resolve that vector. This is u, right? Initial velocity. Okay, you just have to resolve that vector into its perpendicular components. I hope you know to do this. You should watch vectors for it. Okay, so resolution of vectors. Okay, so just break these vectors into two perpendicular components. This will be the adjacent side, so u cos theta. Adjacent to theta is u cos theta. Opposite to theta, okay, is u sin theta. Okay, now you apply this equations of motion in 2 times for this and that. Okay, in x and in y. Okay, this is along x-axis. You can say that this is along x-axis and this is motion along y-axis. Okay, so you are just breaking that 2D motion into two 1Ds. Okay, that was something we did in the first lecture. Do check it out. Okay, so let us discuss in y direction. So you just have to write the equations of motion in both the direction. Okay, so what to do? Vy is equal to uy plus ay into t. Okay, substitute according to conventions. You will see that ay is nothing but minus g, right? Acceleration due to gravity. In the y direction we have gravity, right? Gravity is in the vertically downward direction. Earth is pulling that object down, pulling that projectile down. Okay, so I'll draw it over here, g, right? Minus g in the downward direction. Okay, so ay is g. You can substitute that, sure. Okay, we'll do that directly into the questions. S is equal to uyt plus half ay t square. Okay, and you'll have third equation also, vy square is equal to uy square plus 2ay into s. Okay, now observe what's happening in the x direction. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Is there any acceleration in the x direction? Okay, in y direction of course we have gravity. In x direction, is there something pulling the object, pulling our projectile? Nothing, right? It's moving in the x direction due to this velocity, right? It has that initial uh, kick given to it, so it's moving in the x direction due to that u cos theta. Okay, there is no force in the x direction. Okay, what do I mean by that? Ax is 0. There is no acceleration in the x direction. Okay, so simply you can use speed is equal to distance upon time, all those versions of that, right? Okay, or velocity is equal to displacement upon time. Okay, so in that you can use that in the x direction. Okay, you can also use the equations of motion, but it will boil down to the same thing. Okay, so this is how you solve the questions on projectile motion. Okay, you can note that idea down. You have to actually grab that idea. Noting down won't help. Okay, let's try doing a question. We'll do the question in both the ways. Okay, so you are comfortable with it. Okay, no more talks. Let's erase this off. So it was so simple to solve a projectile motion. Okay, so let us consider a projectile motion. Okay, this is a question now, illustrative question. The initial velocity vector is given as 40 I cap plus 30 j cap. Okay, it is given in the component form ijk, right? And this angle is given, no, okay, the angle is not given. You are, okay, acceleration will be given. Okay, g value is given to be 10, okay, 10 meters per second square. So where is g acting? G is acting in the vertically downward direction, right? You can see that this will be the positive y-axis, right? Positive y-axis, and g is acting along negative y-axis. Okay, so you can say that acceleration is minus 10 j cap. Why minus? Because along negative j cap, right? Negative j cap. A is along negative j cap. So acceleration you have and velocity you have in vectorial form. So the question has asked you for at t equals to 2 seconds, find displacement vector. So you have to find the displacement vector and also the velocity vector. Okay, actually very easy. Just apply the equations of motion. Okay, I'm doing it now. V is equal to u plus at. If you want to try it, you can try it. 1 2 3, pause the video, okay, and try. So you already have 40 I cap plus 30 j cap. Why is the board shaking so much? A is minus 10 j cap and t is 2, right? 2 seconds. Now 40 I cap plus 30 j cap, and you'll have minus 20 j cap. Okay, I multiplied that too. So 40 I cap and 30 minus 20 j cap, that will be 40 I cap. 30 minus 20 is 10, right? Plus 10, so plus 10 j cap. So this is the velocity vector after 2 seconds, and also we have to find the displacement vector after 2 seconds. So let's do that. That is also a simple job. Apply the equation of motion s is equal to ut plus half at square. You already know 40 I cap plus 30 j cap into 2 plus half into a. What is a? Minus 10 j cap, right? So sometimes the value will be given as 10 or sometimes it will be 9.8. Okay, whatever the question tells you, follow it. Okay, either 10 or 9.8 acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so this is 2 square, right? So this one of the 2's will get cancelled, 1 2 will remain over there. So here we have 80 I cap. I'm just multiplying that 2 in 60 j cap, and you'll have minus 20 j cap, right? So you have 80 I cap and plus 40 j cap. Okay, so this is how you solve the questions of projectile motion using the equations of motion. We'll try it in the resolving way. I'll keep that just to verify whether we get the correct answer. We'll do the same question by resolving. Okay, resolving the vector. So now we will have this. So the initial velocity is 50 meters per second. Okay, so the same question actually, I'm just framing it now so that we can do it in the resolving way. This angle is 37 degrees. I hope you know the triangle of 37 degrees. This is a very important triangle. If you don't know, remember it from now. Okay, 37 degrees, 3 4 5. Okay, this is 90 degrees, this is 53 degrees. The side which is smaller is opposite to the smaller angle, 37 degrees 3. Okay, so why did I give this triangle? So that you can find cos theta and sin theta, right? Because this is u, right? So you want to find u cos theta, which will be in this direction, and u sin theta. Okay, so you can find cos theta by adjacent upon hypotenuse 4 by 5, and sin theta will be 3 by 5. Okay, so basically I can see that directly, right? This is 3 3 4 5, that will be 30 40 50, right? I am doing it that way. If you're not comfortable with that, you can do this. Okay, so I'll break it in this way. So this will be 40 I'm looking at the same triangle. So 30, 40, 50. Okay, so this will be 40. That is what we had, right? 40 in the x, 40 I cap plus 30 j cap. So this will be 30. Okay, meters per second, meters per second. Now solve it in, now the question is the same. Find, now just you have to find Sx and Sy separately, right? Because you have resolved it at t is equal to 2 seconds. So you can verify that over here now. The same question it is, as I am saying it again and again. Okay. So Sx is equal to ux t plus half ax t square. Okay. So ax, what is the acceleration in x direction? 0, 0, 0, right? There is nothing pulling the projectile in the x direction. So you could have just used displacement is equal to velocity into time. So 40, this will be 0, right? So 40 into 2, that gives us 80 meters, right? 80 I cap. Okay. So Sy, this is along x, right? So Sx is 80 I cap. Sy, okay, you can also find the velocity, but we'll just do this too. Okay, uy t plus half ay t square. Okay, uy, velocity in the y direction 30, right? 30 into 2 times 2, half ay, acceleration in the y direction minus 10, right? Minus 10. Okay, we'll take it to be 10 minus 10 in the negative direction, so it is minus. Okay, and t square, so 2 into 2, one of the two get cancelled, so you have 60 minus 20, right? 60 minus 20, 40. Okay, so the same question, the same answer in two different ways. Okay, 40 meters if you want the unit. Okay, so now we also know how to solve a projectile motion. Okay, so why is this lecture very long? Then I'll start again. Projectile motion is not a spoonful top. Okay, so now we have to discuss the expression for those terms which we discussed. Okay, expressions or formulae for those terms. What are those terms? Time of flight. Okay, you might have seen the derivations in your NCERT, or you might have done it in your school as well. So time of flight, we need a formula for each of this. Horizontal range. Okay, so that will make our discussion very easy. Okay, that will make the discussion of projectile motion very easier. Okay, so first we are going to discuss about time of flight, then go to horizontal range, a formula for horizontal range, a formula for finally time of flight, horizontal range, and what's the third one? Maximum height, right? So these three terms. Okay, a formula for each of them will make the study of projectile motion very easy. Okay, so let's get into that. Let's consider a projectile motion over here, a football being kicked, okay, with certain initial velocity u. I'll just directly break this motion into its components. Okay, I hope you're comfortable with it. Initially the velocity vector is along this, right? I've just broken it into u cos theta. Now this is theta. Theta is angle of projection. Okay, u cos theta along x-axis and u sin theta along y-axis. So you have ux along x-axis. What is the velocity? Initial velocity u cos theta. Along the y-axis, what is the velocity? U sin theta. Okay, and you have acceleration in the y, right? What is the acceleration in the y? Minus g, right? Is there any acceleration in the x direction? No, 0. Okay, so yeah, let's draw that g over here. So now we have to find an expression for each of this: time of flight, horizontal range, maximum height. Okay, so let's go for the first one now, time of flight. Okay, time of flight, first one. So before that, just pick up this idea. Okay, this is the point where the object achieves its maximum height. Okay, can you appreciate this fact that at this point, at the point of maximum height attained by the particle, the speed in the y direction, the velocity in the y direction would be 0, right? Why? how does it become 0? How do you know that? Okay, see this u sin theta. First of all, you can see that during the upward journey the velocity is decreasing. Okay, so it will become 0 at certain point. Let us first see that. See, u sin theta is along positive y axis direction, right? Positive y axis direction. We have u sin theta, and g we have in the downward direction. The earth is pulling that particle down, that projectile down. Okay, so you can feel the retardation, right? U sin theta, velocity in the upward direction, and here we have acceleration due to gravity g in the downward direction. So this velocity which is there, it will be retarded, right? It's just like applying brakes, right? Earth is pulling that object, so this u sin theta, its magnitude will go on decreasing, right? Smaller, 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 and then at certain point it has to become 0, and at that point the object will achieve its maximum height. Why is that so? Just naively think that Vy, that would be a very silly question. Okay, so just assume that Vy is not equal to 0 in at the maximum height. Okay, so Vy has suppose certain value 2 meters per second. Okay, so at the maximum point it has 2 meters per second in the upward direction. Okay, so it will keep moving up, right? And that violates the definition of maximum height. So at the maximum height the object should have velocity in y to be 0, right? Otherwise, if it has a non-zero velocity, it will go even more higher, right? And that would be the maximum height. How is this a maximum height, right? So the point is, at the highest point, at the maximum height, the particle attains the particle's velocity in the y direction is 0. Okay, at the maximum height the particle's velocity in the y direction is 0, and it should be, right? Otherwise it will go even higher, and that would be the maximum height. Okay, so somewhat contradicting our own statement. Okay. So that is the idea. So I hope you picked that idea. What did I say? At the maximum height the velocity in y direction is 0. Even I forgot. So okay, so let's begin. So we'll calculate the time of flight first. Okay, so actually projectile motion is very symmetric. Okay, projectile motion is symmetric. Okay, so whatever time it takes to go up, the same amount of time it takes to come down. Okay, upward motion is same as the downward motion. The time for upward journey is same as the time for downward journey. So we'll calculate the journey, the time for the upward journey, and we'll just multiply it by 2, right? Time for upward journey 2 times will be the time of flight. Okay, so time for upward journey you can directly calculate it using Vy is equal to Uy plus Ay into t. This time is time for upward journey. Okay, now you can see that Vy at this point we are speaking of. Okay, so Vy is 0, right? At the highest point, that is our half the journey, right? Half the journey until it reaches the maximum height, and the other half is falling from there. Okay, so Vy is 0, Uy initial velocity in y, u sin theta, right? Uy is u sin theta, Ay is minus g in the downward direction, minus g, t we have. So t you can directly solve that now. Okay, you'll get that over here, gt, and you'll have u sin theta over here, u sin theta, and you can just put that g down. Okay, now you want to calculate the time of flight. This is the time of upward journey. Time of flight will be 2 times of it. Okay, so 2 u sin theta by c. You are supposed to remember this. Okay, as I said, they will make the problems of projectile motion very easier. Okay, one more point you can pick up from symmetry is that suppose you have a projectile motion. Okay, this is the formula for t. I'm just adding a point on symmetry now. It started with initial velocity u, suppose. Okay, just take this one point, it will help you in the further discussion. Started with initial velocity v, u, so it will also end with that same velocity. Magnitude wise the same, direction will be so what the motion suggests, right? What the projectile motion suggests. Okay, so it started with u, it will end with u. Okay, so first the velocity in y decreases 0, then it increases, and again you'll have the same condition, only the direction will be a sort of change. Okay, so that is the point you can pick up from symmetry. You can note this down for time period. We have the expression over here. Now let's go for the horizontal range. Okay, so the lights went off actually. Okay, anyways, let's resume with our discussion. We were discussing the maximum height. Now let's discuss the maximum height first and then go to the horizontal range. Okay, time of flight was 2u sin theta by g. You should remember that. Okay, so let's discuss it for the maximum height. Let's have a projectile motion over here, u cos theta. Why did I erase it? U sin theta in the y direction, g in the negative y direction. Okay, and we'll only consider the half part of the journey and apply this equation, right? V square is equal to u square plus 2as. Okay, I'm just using that in the y direction because you can see that height is something which you measure in y, right? Height is from the ground to the whatever height the object is, so that is a distance in y, right? Height is a distance in y, so sy will be r. So I am considering the journey till here, half part of the journey, because in half time, in half of the journey the object reaches the maximum height, right? A half journey it travels upward, then half downward. Okay, so we'll consider the first half, and we know that at the maximum height the velocity in the y direction is 0. Okay, now let's just plug in the values over here. Vy is 0. Okay, uy, initial velocity in the y direction, u sin theta, so u sin theta the whole square plus 2 ay, acceleration in y minus g, right? Minus g in the downward direction, and sy will be nothing but, for the half of the journey, sy is this height, which is nothing but h max, right? For half of the journey the object reaches the maximum height, right? And that will be sy, the distance in y, right? We are considering the motion in y direction, so sy is h max. Okay, just now rearrange that, so you'll get h max at this side, so that 2g will get down. So u square sin square theta, this is the final thing that you will obtain upon 2g. So u square sin square theta upon 2g is the maximum height. So this is the expression for the maximum height. Okay, if you have the initial velocity and theta, you can easily find the maximum height achieved by the projectile. Okay, so that was about the maximum height. You can note this down and you are supposed to remember that. The whole purpose of this is to make the discussion of projectile motion easier. Okay, you will have direct questions on this, so yeah, you are supposed to remember it. Coming to horizontal range, what was horizontal range? This distance, right? The distance which the projectile traveled horizontally, right? This distance. Okay, so how to find that? That is horizontal distance, right? Distance along the x-axis. Okay, even if you don't write r, because r means horizontal range, right? So it means it is along x-axis. So instead of using s is equal to ut plus half at square in the x direction, you can directly use distance is equal to speed into time, because ax is 0, right? Ax is 0. You can also use that. It will boil down to the same thing. So vx into t. So distance is equal to speed into time. Okay, or displacement is equal to velocity into time. What is the velocity in x direction? U cos theta, right? U cos theta. It does not depend on time. Okay, throughout the journey velocity is u cos theta. There is no acceleration, no change in velocity. Okay, for time you can see that for projectile to travel this entire distance r, it took the entire journey. So the time of entire journey, right? For r it took the entire journey we have to account the time of the entire journey, which we know is 2u sin theta by g. Okay, So you can simply write that as u square 2 sine theta cos theta. Okay, I see an identity over there, that is why I write it in this way, upon g, and this is an identity, right? 2 sine theta cos theta is nothing but, math student will know it, sine 2 theta. Okay, 2 sine theta is cos theta, 2 sine theta into cos theta is sine 2 theta. Okay, you should remember that if you didn't knew it earlier. So you have your r over here, the horizontal range, the distance traveled horizontally by the projectile, which is u square sine 2 theta by g. Okay, so this is another expression which you should remember. Okay, certain special things about range I'm going to mention now. You can note that down for now. Now tell me about the maximum value of this horizontal range. What is the maximum horizontal range and what is the way to achieve it? Okay, so you can see that for a given projectile, this u will be some given value, some initial velocity will be constant, right? A given constant value, and here g we have assumed it to be a constant, right? In our assumptions, g does not vary, so g is also a constant. So you can see that r only depends on that sine 2 theta. So in order to make that r maximum, just maximize sine 2 theta, right? Maximize sine 2 theta. Okay, so what is the maximum value of sine function? 1, right? So sine 2 theta maximum value is 1. So just plug in 1 there. So you get the maximum horizontal range. Okay, so for your projectile to achieve this maximum horizontal range, what shall be the angle? Okay, so we can find that angle from this case. Okay, what is the angle at which we should throw our projectile so that it achieves its maximum range? What is the angle that we should throw our projectile so that it achieves its maximum range? It will be somewhere in between, right? Okay, so yeah, it is not just somewhere in between, it is the between. Okay, sine 2 theta is equal to sine 90. In place of 1 I put sine 90. Don't get burdened by this math, medical people. We are just supposed to remember the results. Okay, so 2 theta equals 90 degrees, theta equals 40 degrees. I'm just finding a particular solution. So this is the final result. So for your projectile to achieve the maximum horizontal range, you should throw it at 45 degrees to the ground or the x-axis. Okay, so this is a beautiful result that we achieved. Okay, here Rmax is the maximum horizontal range, and for your projectile to achieve it, you have to throw it at 45 degrees. Okay, also one more thing, one more point. Okay, I'll just mention it, you can prove it for yourself. Okay, that will be your homework maybe. So complementary angles have same ranges. You might have heard about complementary angles in your lower classes. Have same range. Okay, complementary angles are basically angles which have a sum of 90 degrees. Okay, two angles which add to 90 degrees, just like 70 20, 45 45, 60 30, like that. Okay, so complementary angles have the same range. Okay, so even if you take 30 degrees or 60 degrees, okay, those two are complementary, like right, 60 plus 30 90. Okay, so if you take 30 degrees, there will be range. 60 degrees, there will be another range. Both the range will be same, right? Complementary angles have the same range. You can go ahead and prove this for yourself. You can just take two random complementary angles, general rather, so alpha and 90 minus alpha, and you just plug it over here, you'll get the same formula, which means that range is same for complementary angles. Okay, these two are complementary angles, right? When you add this two, alpha will get cancelled, so you get 90, right? They add up to 90. Okay, so that was another point. Finally, I'll just mention one point and then we'll go for questions. Okay, so we have also discussed about the range and some special points in range. Okay, now just a point, just let us just write the things that we have derived. One was h max, other was t, which was 2u sine theta by g. Okay, one was range, right? U square sine 2 theta by g. Okay, here we have uh, u square sine square theta by 2g. Okay, you can remember those in other format also, like you can remember this t as 2 into uy upon g, right? U sine theta is uy. This h max, as I told you, you can remember it as uy square upon 2g. This is I'm just making it easier for you to remember. R can be remembered as, now how to remember this, you just break it into two parts, u sine theta, so 2u sine theta cos theta. I'm again using that identity, sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta. Okay, I'm just splitting that u again. Okay, so simply you can write u sine theta is, so that 2 is over here, u sine theta is uy, u cos theta is ux upon g, right? So you can remember it in this format or that. I'm comfortable with that. I'll remember it in that format. Oh, okay. So one more thing, just make that theta equals to 90 degree and observe what's happening. Okay, this is very, very interesting. Just make that theta equals to 90 degree. Okay, so when you equate theta equals 90 degree, what is h max? H max is nothing but sine of 90 will be 1, so square doesn't matter, so u square by 2g. Have you seen this somewhere? Time, again when you equate it to 90 degrees, you get 2u by g, right? Sine 90 is 1. Here also you can put that. Here you will get 0. Okay, r will be 0 because sine of 2 into 90, sine of 180 is 0. Okay, now have you seen this somewhere? Have you seen that somewhere? Okay, h is equal to u square by 2g, t is equal to 2u by g. This range you forget for now. Okay, this was something which we got in motion under gravity, right? Motion under gravity, right? This means the same thing actually. See, projectile motion, now the angle with respect to the ground, u is in the upward direction, right? So it's just like motion under gravity. Now the theta is 90 degree, right? You have just thrown the thing up, right? So that is the same thing, those same results of motion under gravity that we get. So is motion under gravity projectile motion? Now this is very, very interesting and confusing at the same time, because we began our lecture saying projectile motion is motion under gravity in 2 dimensions, and now we found out that motion under gravity is itself projectile motion. What's happening? Okay, it's a debatable topic. Some books will say motion under gravity is not projectile motion, and as you know, some things which are not there in our syllables, those projectile motions are not motion under gravity as such. Okay, so those lines were just a dopamine dose, not to take those very, very seriously. Okay, let us leave that debate aside and focus on questions now. As I said, the lines were just dopamine doses, don't take them seriously. Okay, now I think you'll be able to do the questions wherein you are asked for h, r, t, those values directly, right? Let's just try it. Okay, once. So suppose this is 28 meters per second, your projectile is thrown at 28 meters per second at an angle 30 degree with respect to ground. You have the g value to be 9.8. If it's not mentioned, the g will value, if it's not mentioned in the question, take it to be 9.8. Okay, don't be over smart and take it to be 10. Okay, you should not do that. So h max, first job, okay, u square sine square theta by 2g. Okay, so u square 28 into 28 sine square theta, so sine 30 is half, so half into half, okay, upon twice into 9.8. okay, so this is 14, this is again 14, okay, 14 into 14 upon, okay, this will be 19.6, okay, 19.6, and this is 196. Okay, so that's why I multiplied that. So that can cancel 10 times, right? So 10 meters is the answer. Very straightforward question. Let's go for the time. 2u sine theta by g. Okay, 2u. So 2 into 28 into sine theta is half, and upon g you have 9.8. Okay, this will be something absurd, I guess. 28 upon 9.8, so that cancels by 7. 4 za, and you have 14, I guess. 7 1 za 7, 4 za 28. Okay, you'll get 2 upon 0.7. So this value will be approximately somewhat like excuse me, 2.9 seconds. Okay, so you can calculate that. Now going to r. Okay, the maximum horizontal range. Let me drink some water. Okay, let's go for r now. What is the formula? U square sine 2 theta by g, or 2ux uy by g. Is it? Yes. So here we have u square as 28 into 28 sine 2 theta. Sine, this theta is 30 degrees, right? Theta is the angle of projection. 2 theta, double of that, 60 degrees. Sine 60 degrees, root 3 by 2. Root 3 by 2. And g, we have it to be 9.8. 9.8. So you can cancel this, and here also 7, 4, and something. You'll when you'll solve it, you'll get it around 69 meters. Okay, so these were actually calculative. As you can guess it, they were from NCERT. Usually you won't have certain calculative things like this. Okay, you can note that down. It was very easy, right? It was a straightforward question, nothing very much to discuss. Okay, now we'll have a bit difficult one. Okay, the second type. Okay, this second type we are going to discuss in the next class also. Okay, we have thrown a projectile from a building. Okay, we have a building over here which is 25 meters long. Okay, 25 meters in height. You have thrown a projectile at an angle of 45 degrees. Okay, that will give the maximum range, but do we want that? Okay, that is the projectile. They have given the path. Okay, okay, so it has that projectile motion and it continues, right? There is no ground over here. It's a building. We have thrown it from the top of the building, so it will continue its motion till it falls back to the ground. Okay, so what is asked is time. Okay, they have asked you for the time. Okay, what is the time taken for the object to hit the ground? So this is the only data provided. You also know that take g to be 10. Okay, take g to be 10 in this case. Okay, and try it. It's a good question. Okay, this question is a good one. It will use all the logics that we discussed in our class today. It will use all the concept. It is not a play of your expressions HRT. It requires something more than that. Okay, so you can always pause and try. I'm going to do it now. Okay, so what I will do is I've just extended this line. Okay, the x-axis, we'll consider that to be the x-axis now. And okay, now I'll break that motion into two parts. First is the projectile motion itself, and this is also a projectile motion, but we'll name it to be 2. Okay, this is the first motion, this is the second motion. Okay, we will find the time of those two motions separately. Time t1 for this, t2 for this, just add the time. Okay, that will give us our answer. Okay, time taken for the ball to reach the ground. Okay, so one thing we can do, we can directly apply the formula and find the time t1, right? We can directly find t1, right? This is basically a projectile motion, right? The upward motion 1, the motion 1 is a projectile motion. You can just apply 2u sine theta by g and get the time period for that, time of flight for that. Okay, for this motion. Okay, so you get 2u. What is u? Okay, what is u? 20 root 2, and you have sine theta. Sine of 45 degree is 1 by root 2, right? By g, they have told us to take 10. Okay, this root 2 cancels with root 2, 10 cancels with this, and we are left with 4. So it took us 4 seconds from here to here. For motion 1 to complete, it took 4 seconds. Now for motion 2, can you think of it? Okay, tell me the time period for motion 2, T2. Okay, tell me T2. Now I mentioned something about symmetry, right? When we were discussing about time period, I mentioned time of flight. I told you about this symmetry, right? It begins with that speed and it also comes out and it's just about to hit the ground. In our case, it was this way, right? Ground. We had ground, so it begins with the same speed u, and it also exits out with the same speed u. Okay, so here also it will exit out with the same speed and at the same angle, 45 degrees. Okay, so we can use this logic now. So we'll break that again along x-axis and along y-axis. Okay, we'll resolve that vector 20 root 2 along x-axis. Those who are finding it a bit difficult, we are going to discuss it in the next class as well. Okay, so don't worry, just sit back and enjoy. Now let's break that vector into 2 along the x-axis and along the y-axis. Okay, 20, that will be 20 20, right? 20 root 2 20 20, the angle is 45. Okay, I'll show you. So it will be u sin theta and u cos theta. U sin theta along this direction, so u is 20 root 2 and sine of 45 degree 1 upon root 2, so that cancels, so you get 20. Again u cos theta will be 20 root 2. Why am I doing this? 1 upon root 2, this and this cancels and you get 20. So 20 20, as I said, so you have broken that vector is gone. So basically you are asked to find the time, right? So you can just consider the motion in y direction, right? Consider the motion in y direction. Apply what we can apply is, to find T2 we can apply Sy is equal to Uy t plus half Ay t square, right? Projectile motion is uniformly accelerated motion. We can use the equations of motion, another concept, right? So we use the formulae, we use the symmetry concept. We are now using the equations of motion to do this question. Okay, so Uy, initial velocity in y direction 20. Okay, you can take it to be minus 20, doesn't really matter. Okay, the conventions will balance itself. Okay, I'm taking the downward direction to be positive now. Downward direction is positive. Okay, Uy into t plus Uy into t plus half Ay is 10, right? Now downward direction is positive, so it is plus 10. Okay, whatever convention you choose, follow it strictly. And here you have t square, which is supposed to be found out, and Sy is nothing but this distance, right? The distance of the building. Okay, we are just considering the motion in y. So we have 25 is equal to 20t plus this will cancel 5t square. You just have to solve this quadratic. So I can simplify that. I'll divide that by 5 square. Okay, sorry, fine. I'll divide that by 5 plus 4t, and you'll have minus 5 equals 0. So I guess 5 ones are, what is that? You want minus 5, so I'll say 5t minus t minus 5 equals 0. So t I'll take common, t plus 5. Okay, and here you can take minus 1 to be common, t plus 5 equals 0. So you have t plus 5 and t minus 1. Of course, t plus 5 cannot be equal to 0. T will be minus 5. Okay, time negative does not make something good. Okay, we know that time cannot flow back as of now. Okay, so we get t minus 1 equal to 0, and that gives us t is equal to 1 second. Okay, so is that the answer? No, we have t1 plus, this is t2, right? T2, so t2 plus t1, so the final answer is 5 seconds. Yes, 5 seconds is the correct answer. Okay, so that question included every of the concept that we discussed today. Okay, we are also going to do this type of questions in the next class. So if you didn't get it, you can watch it again or you can wait for the next class. Okay, no hype. Finally, I'll give you a problem, a homework problem, which is also an interesting one. Okay, you can note this down. Okay, let's go to a football match now. So we have our player over here. So this is your homework question, our stickman. Okay, he has struck the ball. He has kicked the ball at an angle of 45 degree with respect to the ground. Okay, with initial velocity of 12 meters per second. Okay, he has a goal in front of him. He's at a 7.2 meters distance from the goal. So here we have a goal at a distance of 7.2 meters from him, and the goal is 3 meters long. Okay, that is too big, I guess, but anyways, just change the unit if you are not comfortable. Anyways, that doesn't change the concept. Okay, so we have a footballer who has kicked the ball with a speed of 12 meters per second at an angle of 45 degree. He is at an distance of 7.2 meters from a goal which is at which has a height of 3 meters. Height 3 meters meaning after 3 meters there is a pole, right? Okay, that is what it means. Considering that he won't miss the shot sideways, tell me whether it is a goal or not a goal. Okay, so do let me know your answers in the comment section. The correct ones will receive a heart from me. Okay, this question has a good concept in it. You can surely try it. Okay. Okay, that's pretty much it for today's class. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon in the next class. Till then, keep enjoying the things.